Hey everyone, so I am back in the bathroom once again, and I took a few weeks off, and part of the reason for that absence is that I got really busy with work, but also because I had a little mouse issue to deal with. And in the midst of dealing with that mouse problem, I was in the garage cutting some wood, and I had the garage door open, I had the back door open to the garage, and I took my mask off because it got really hot in there. And I ingested quite a bit of sawdust, so my lungs were all screwed up for a few weeks. So I'm back in here now, and what I'm going to talk about today is that mouse issue and what we did to correct it. So if you remember at the beginning of this bathroom remodeling project, I talked about a rat infestation that we had previously in the crawl space and in the bathroom itself underneath the floor. And the evidence of that is obviously the crawl space is kind of ratty with rat droppings, and also the insulation underneath the floor here had a lot of rat droppings. And there was also an inactive rat's nest underneath the tub when I pulled the tub out. So before I got too far into this bathroom remodeling project, I went around the perimeter of the house and I checked all the crawl space vents. And I closed off any questionable crawl space vents using this wire mesh that I got at Home Depot. And then I also went into the garage and I checked the wall between the garage and the crawl space. And I found a 1" by 4" opening, so I closed that off. Then I did a double check and I kind of declared everything good. Well, a few weeks ago, we started hearing some scratching underneath the floor in one of the bedrooms on the lower floor. And at first I didn't pay it much attention because I thought, okay, maybe it's just something outside. I'm just hearing things. I'm just not going to worry about it. Well, a few weeks ago, we started to hear some scratching in the living room. And the reason why I'm panning you over this way is because this is the wall between the bathroom and the kitchen, and that's pretty much wide open. As you can see, there's no drywall in parts there. And that plastic was put up to prevent rats and mice from getting in there after we discovered that we had a mouse issue in the house. And so we were sitting down watching TV, and we started hearing scratching in the living room. And so we kind of sat there quietly, and all of a sudden a mouse popped its head out and started going up the stairs. So we chased after the mouse, and long story short, we trapped it a few days later in the kitchen on a glue board. The glue board is not one of my favorite traps to use. I will never use one again because of the simple fact that the mouse did not really die on the glue board. It just kind of flopped around and writhed in pain and made a bunch of noise, and so I will never use one of those again. Instead, to trap the second mouse, so we figured that, since there was one mouse, there's probably more. And so I set a trap in the crawl space. It was a Victor mouse trap it's a plastic trap that resembles the old style mouse traps. The thing I didn't like about that trap was that it didn't set very easily or very consistently. So you would set the trap and it would snap on you, and then you would set it again, it would snap on you, and finally you have to carefully set it and carefully put it down and carefully nudge it into position, and it was just a pain to use that trap. But it did catch one mouse. The only problem with when it caught that mouse is that it only trapped the end of the mouse's nose. So the trap snapped, and I heard it snap, but we didn't find the mouse right where the trap snapped. We found the mouse about 4 or 5 feet away from where we had originally set the trap. So that told me, okay, if that mouse was able to drag the trap 4 or 5 feet away, then there could potentially be another mouse that's trapped in that trap, and that, I could have an issue where I won't even be able to find the trap, and that could, turn into a horrible smell in the crawl space here if I can't find the mouse, obviously. So I quickly discontinued using those traps, and I went to this one here. This is the Ortho Press and Set trap. Now let me go ahead and snap that. But right there where you can see there's a little reservoir there where you can put peanut butter in there, and then press down the lever. It sets pretty easily. And normally what you do when you're setting a mouse trap, from what I've read, is you want to put the trap along a wall. And since there's no flooring in here, that's kind of a moot point in my situation. But normally if you have a mouse, for example, in a kitchen, you would set the trap along a wall like that. And because mice track along walls because they don't see very well, they're going to track along the wall, and then they'll smell the peanut butter and go for the bait. And then, of course, the trap will snap. Or it should snap. So that trap worked great. I did catch a third mouse in here, and it trapped the whole head of the mouse in the trap, and it fell straight to the floor, and I was able to easily find the trap. So that's a really good trap. I did do some research on Amazon.com and found that was quite a highly recommended trap by a lot of people. It is plastic though, so I'm not sure how long it'll last, but it worked well in my situation here. And I'm hoping I don't have to worry about mice in the future anyway. And so what I had to do to correct the issue was that what it ended up being was underneath the chimney in the crawl space, there was a 5-inch by 5-foot opening collectively between the floor joists that ran along that chimney. And apparently when they built the house, they neglected to close off those openings. The previous owner tried to close off the openings using wire mesh, but they did a really half-assed job of doing that, and it left a 1-inch space. So mice don't really need much space to get in. They need probably a 1/4 inch or larger space to get in. So that was really not a good thing. So I ended up closing that off using some pressure treated plywood, and so we're all good. Thanks for watching.